You're watching Ride the Teacups?
And we just watched Hamilton.
Oh, is that what that is? Hey guys, I'm Steve.
And I'm Casey.
And we are going to be reviewing different pieces of film and TV shows on Disney Plus for you to let you know if it's worth watching by yourself or with your family.
We enjoy spending time as a family, and one of the ways that we do that is by watching Disney Plus together.
But we also know that not everything on Disney Plus is appropriate for everyone. So we want to take this time, just kind of walk through some different things on it and tell you what's good for us, what's good for your kids, what's good for everybody as a family. So buckle up, here we go.
Hamilton is a Broadway musical that Disney filmed and put on Disney Plus so you can watch it at home.
And we thoroughly enjoyed not paying the ticket price in order to watch this and experience it. So the idea of Hamilton, it goes through our founding father, Alexander Hamilton, and his life story. It is an interpretation of the story, so lots of accuracy, lots of things had some creative license to it. We'll get into that in a little bit, but ultimately, it's a pretty accurate telling of Alexander Hamilton's life story from when he really got engaged with the founding fathers all the way up into the end of his life. So they've set it in a musical format because it's the on-Broadway performance. And neat thing about Hamilton is they have gone with a completely diverse cast, regardless of the race or skin color of any of the actual historical figures. They have not taken that into account when they've cast any of the actors. So you have a really awesome blend of of white, African-American, Hispanic, Asian, and all kinds of different cultures in this thing, which brings a whole new twist on the story. So I guess that's a segue into the things that we liked about the movie. So I've apparently started. There is a hugely diverse cast. It is amazing, and I loved the different performances that I've never seen that type of well, it's never been done before. It was very intentionally done to bring a diverse cast to a setting that's never seen a diverse cast before. And I think that's really, really awesome. I mean, throughout history, there have been more than a few instances of white actors and actresses taking on other traditional race roles. And so now it's a little bit, I guess, reversed. I don't know, but it seemed very natural. It didn't take anything away from the story. And I really liked seeing so much diversity in the cast. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did as well. The voices, they have beautiful voices, and it was really neat to hear them sing and rap.
While we're at it, the music inside of Hamilton is not the traditional orchestral score that you would expect out of an on-Broadway performance. There is a ton of rap, R&B, hip-hop mixed in with a traditional orchestra and blended really well, and I thought the music was awesome.
I really enjoyed the music as well, and at first I was confused because I wasn't expecting the rapping. I was expecting speaking and singing, and so I was going, that's interesting. But it moves along quickly, it keeps you engaged, and you get used to it, you start to expect it. There's still some really great numbers that don't include rap as well.
Yeah, I like that with the hip hop, it starts with a very, very strong hip hop just right off the bat, and it's very pulsing and methodical, and really just it lets you know this is going to be what we're showing you today, and it's very, very in your face, and I loved it. So other things that we enjoyed, the casting on this was just absolutely amazing. I don't think there was an actor or actress that I didn't like in the entire film, and I don't know that I've ever been able to say that before. I'm not a musical buff, like that's not my normal genre. I enjoy musicals, but it's not my normal genre of things that I would naturally go to immediately. But yeah, I don't think they made a bad casting choice in the entire film.
No, yeah, everybody was very good at acting and singing.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not both.
Fair enough, but in this case, I really think, yeah. So if we're going to talk about people that we liked, we have to start with Hamilton himself, played by the writer of the performance, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Sorry if I screwed up your name there. Lin-Manuel Miranda took the title role of Hamilton and was just excellent. So I think one of the best singing voices on the show, and that's really something to be said. And just really the emotional range that he gave throughout the performance. I love you. I mean, you couldn't help but just celebrate with him and grieve with him and cheer with him and side with him. He really did an amazing job throughout everything. You know, the young and angry Hamilton, the older, wiser Hamilton. You know, I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I thought he was just outstanding. What did you think?
Yes, I agree. He did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed watching him throughout the whole musical.
I'll admit to cheating a little bit. I've got my IMDb up just so I can make sure to get my actors and actresses' names correct. Sorry about that. But we have Eliza Hamilton, who becomes Hamilton's wife in the musical, played by Philippa Sue, and her sister, Angelica, who is played by Renee Elise Goldsberry. Let's give a little credit to the ladies here. What did you think?
Eliza, Hamilton's wife, was my favorite singer on the show. I just really enjoyed listening to her sing. I think she just has a beautiful voice. She was also an excellent actress as well.
And the wonderful actress who played Angelica.
Yes, she was our other favorite. She's very rich voice.
She's got some pipes. That was
beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah, they really stuck out.
They really did. They got some wonderful talent on the ladies. And then as we go alongside Alexander Hamilton, you'll see that we can't go anywhere without Aaron Burr as well, who kind of plays the, I don't know if it's the antagonist role, but certainly the opposite of Hamilton.
Yeah, and he kind of narrates through the entire show as well.
He does.
To kind of keep you historically in the loop. Like he kind of gives you historical references and like where are we in the story and what's going on.
A lot of exposition done by Burr.
Yeah, he raps a lot.
Yes, he does. Played by Leslie Odom Jr. Inside of the play. I thought he was very good. He has a vocal range that I wasn't expecting, actually, much higher vocal range than I was expecting him to have, which was really nice when he was especially doing some of his introspective work. It was a very nice dynamic to everyone else who was down a little bit. Right?
Got nothing. Yep.
Okay. I don't want to go over the whole cast, but I do want to touch on just a couple of other ones that really stood out to me. First was Marquis de Lafayette, who also played the same role of Thomas Jefferson. This is David Diggs, who is one of my favorite people. Oh my goodness, this guy's personality, especially as Jefferson, just, oh my goodness.
He was a lot of fun. He was fun to watch dance, sing, just the interaction between Jefferson and Hamilton throughout the musical was really, really neat.
Yes, they were not friends. They did not like each other very much.
But their arguments were fun.
Yes, they were. It was very fun to see them kind of oppose each other and how they did that. But in the introduction, like I said, the same actor, David Diggs, I was going to say the wrong last name, David Diggs. The same actor plays both roles. First half is Marquis, and then the second half is Thomas Jefferson. And when he came in, he had a much bigger personality than he used to as Jefferson as opposed to the Frenchman. And we were trying to figure out, like, who is that? And he said that he had just come from France, and it took us a few moments until somebody actually named him to pinpoint that he was playing a different role, because
yes,
we both realized it was the same actor, but with a very different personality the second time around.
Yeah.
But that quickly washed, and just thoroughly enjoyed the over-the-top Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, it was very well done.
And then finally, I think this is going to go to, it's very unusual, but my favorite casting, my favorite role of the entire musical for me went to Jonathan Groff, who played King George from Across the Pond.
He was also my favorite. And he only really had 2 big scenes, right? Like two major songs that he sang and two major scenes that he was in the entire musical.
Yes.
but they were awesome.
I have had his voice in my head for like weeks. It's oh my goodness, and he's for you video game folks out there. He is GLaDOS from the Portal series. So I'll let you guys look that up if you're not terribly aware. But he is. It's just he's the bad guy that you would expect to be the king from across the pond, and is very cutesy, and he doesn't understand things. And I understand that I am your king and you are my subject, and that is the way that it should be. And you love me, and you really love me, and I love you, and my love costs things, and you will pay it so that I can continue to love you. And oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I would get a copyright strike for letting you hear the song, but seriously, watch just for it's hilarious how different, and it's totally different from everything else.
Yeah, it provides comic relief when you need it, because there are a lot of somber moments in the musical too. So it's nice to have the humor in there.
Yes, to put an analogy to that, King George is Hamilton's version of C-3PO and R2-D2, or maybe closer to Jar Jar Binks. Because you shouldn't like him. You shouldn't like anything about him. Everything about him is out of place, which is, I suppose, is the idea of being the King of England during the American Revolution. He's expected to be out of place. It's intentional, but it's so just the dynamic and the difference is hilarious and absolutely worth it. So he really, raw person. Groff just really knocked this thing out of the park with his role, and he was clearly having a lot of fun too.
Yes.
Da 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 da. Oh my goodness, just nonstop that jingle in my head every waking moment, and I think during my sleep. So we liked the casting, we liked a lot of the characters. How about the actual story itself? Did you like the story as it was told?
I feel like it moved quickly. The rapping was sometimes really hard to understand because it was really, really fast. But at the same time, it kept the musical moving. I think it would have gotten boring if they hadn't been able to rap. There was so much story to tell. And there were times where I was like, I'm not going to get this. I'm going to have to watch this again. But then you didn't, because if you just kept watching, they kind of fit pieces together and you got the gist of it.
Yeah,
so if that makes sense.
It does. And so a lot of the rapping and hip hop was used for exposition, was used for moving things on. It was also used during a lot of the debates. The debates were held in a rap battle style, which was really neat. So rap and hip hop is not generally what comes up on our radios, so it's not something that we're really deep into that culture.
Right.
It was very fast, but I didn't have an issue following it or the story it was telling.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was. It was
that just wasn't what I expected, because I grew up with musicals. We used to go to Gamage and watch them all the time, but they were the classical musicals, nothing new. So that was just like, oh, what is this?
So getting on to the actual story itself, I thought the pacing was really well done. It did move very fast. You are going through several decades of the guy's life within a couple hours, so that's kind of to be expected. But it wasn't ever so fast that I lost track of what was actually going on. I think it hit all the plot points and everything that I needed. And at the same time, at no point was I ever worried like I'm losing out or I'm just waiting for the next piece of action to come by. So the pacing on this was really well done. And beyond just the pace, everything that goes into a big type of production, whether it's film or television or live or Broadway, that type of thing, everything worked really well. The way that they had the stage moving, they had a couple of rings that were able to spin together or at different speeds or in opposite directions. So different people actually met up at different places. They actually met in the rings where they needed to at that exact point in the song, and the timing was just unbelievable how absolutely perfect that it was. Several times they actually went back in time to remembering things that had happened previously in the play, and the way that they had the actors positioned and set to meet each other to jog your memory at exactly that moment was like, it was mind-boggling how spot on it was. They did just an excellent job, and exactly the musical hits along with the story notes. actor placements being exactly where it is they needed to be, set pieces and movement, people putting the set pieces into place, oftentimes in times of confusion and motion, lifting up things like chairs or desks at different angles was never distracting, but was always, the timing of it was really well done, and you never noticed anything going on in the background, even when it was just right in front of your face.
Yeah, they usually put in the shadows, so they used their spotlights really well. Because if you looked back, it was very subtle, but you would see all these shadows moving. The scenery was moving into place, chairs, whatever, furniture, things like that. It was seamless. It was really neat to kind of step back and watch. And then when the turntable was going, it reminded me of in Les Mis. I'm pretty sure they used a similar feature, but it was neat to use it that way because they were meeting, they were walking, and
it was nice to see them, how they actually interacted with each other, as they didn't. Oh, they also used as basically a treadmill, so you could actually have people that you could see they were walking and moving around, but obviously weren't going anywhere because they were walking the exact same speed the other thing was moving. So you could tell they were on a walk, but they were always able to stay center stage. The other thing that I really appreciated, I think they had two very distinct, different styles of music when we don't count King George and his la da 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 da. Two different specific styles of music. One moved very fast, was very story-based, very in-your-face, and really moved everything along. And the other one, you had lots and lots of tones repeating over and over and over and over and over again. And those two things really never met. They always kind of kept those separate. So you had things like the trial and the journey and the history, which was all expositional. So some of the different tracks that they had repeated over and over and over again were, I am not going to waste my shot. That was a theme throughout the entire thing, and especially as you have this uprising of the revolution, that really hit a nerve. I'm not going to waste my shot, and so many other people getting in on it. I'm not going to waste my shot, and Hamilton especially reiterated it several times. Other tracks came in like Satisfied, like he will never be satisfied. Hamilton will never be satisfied, and this was actually initially brought up at the front by Angelica. And then other stories like Stay Alive and That Would Be Enough, Hamilton realizing what would be enough for him and where he actually wants his life to go in realizations. Those are different story beats that are picked up over and over and over and over and over again in your head. And that really culminates at the end. At the very end of the film, Hamilton is actually going back and recounting those points that have been just beat inside of your head about making sure about not wasting your shot, and that he's never satisfied, and staying alive, and the things that are important to him, and what he needs to do. He lets that help his actions throughout the entire last part of the movie, which I don't want to spoil, but it all comes back to being very, very important, much more important than you ever realized at the beginning. So again, just all of these different things coming in at the end as being just incredibly important, well put together. I thought just by design, it was a very well designed performance on all aspects. All right, and then everybody's favorite thing is whining about stuff on the internet. No, this is really just the stuff that we didn't like so much. So there was a lot to like in Hamilton. I think we've gone over that pretty clearly in abundance, but it wasn't all roses and sunshine. There were some things that we did not enjoy so much. Do you want to kind of go first to kick things off?
Nope.
All right, then I'll go first.
Yep.
So the target audience for Hamilton is going to be adults, and a very adult audience. And with that, there is a lot of sexual reference. And I mean, on one hand, that's part of the man's life, right? But on the other hand, that's not something that, I want to see in a movie is nearly that much sexual style content, and it's not graphic. It's discussed. It's discussed a lot in a lot of details. They basically play Hamilton up to be a poster boy playboy before he actually marries his wife, and I just, that kind of turned me off a little bit. It may be a historically accurate part of the character's life, but it doesn't mean I have to like it in the story that I'm watching. And then also there was actually a little bit of language. It was not incredibly over the top.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to catch F-bombs or things like that inside of here, but there was a lot of language and innuendo that, I would not I certainly don't want my kids to be exposed to, and I don't really enjoy in my films. Maybe that makes me the boomer. I don't know, but a younger me would really be much more into that. But the older, more mature, no, probably just older and more boring me. Other than the fact that they made Hamilton a playboy, which may or may not be historically accurate. I'm not actually saying one way or another because I'm not totally aware myself. But other than trying to make him a playboy and using an awful lot of kind of over-the-top language and innuendos, I really don't think there was a whole lot else to dislike in this play, at least not from my perspective.
No, yeah, I agree. The only thing I wasn't fond of is the same thing.
Yeah, so I enjoyed Hamilton a lot more than I was actually expecting to, I think. So I was not looking forward to it a whole lot, not because I didn't like it, but because there were so many other things I would rather watch. We ended up watching it anyway, just because it is such a cultural phenomenon. We wanted to make sure we were part of it, and I was really pleasantly surprised. I was really happy that we did, and ultimately, well, let's get into this a little bit. The way that we're going to review our Disney Plus content is we're going to look at the target audience and look at that by itself. The goal of Ride the Teacups is to make family memories together. So we're also going to rate it on would you watch this with your family and is that worth it? And then finally, bonus points if it has some extra Disney magic packed into it. You ready?
Ready.
Cool. So the target audience for this is adults. So as we are actually adults, we're pretty qualified to talk about this. As an adult, would you think that other adults would enjoy sitting down to Hamilton?
Yes. It's fun. It's a different type of musical, so even if you don't like musicals, give it a try. It is very different than anything I've ever seen. And I just think it was entertaining and fun to watch. And I learned something.
Yeah, me too. I think I give a big thumbs up to this for adults sitting down and watching it, whether you're by yourself, with your spouse, with family and friends, whatever. I really think that as adults, this is really going to be something that's good. So definitely get my point for that. And then as a family, what do you think about family friendliness?
I would say if you had teenagers, and only teenagers in your family, it would be a great thing to watch together, especially historically. And I think that they would be able to, they wouldn't be affected as much by sexual innuendos and the language, although they might also get it. So be prepared.
I completely agree again. However, I don't have teenagers. We have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. We will not be watching this as a family anywhere near the near future. So this one does not get that point from me. But I think as teenagers, that's a very valid point. So we'll give it one of the two from us.
Okay.
And then finally, we want to judge whether this has a certain Disney magic. Disney films and TV shows and presentations always have a bit of magic about them, just kind of above and beyond anything else. That we really can't describe other than I'll know it when I see it and I'll know when it's missing. And in order to get the point for Disney magic, we both have to completely agree that it does have Disney magic in order for the final point to count. So Disney magic, does this have it or does Hamilton not have Disney magic to it?
I don't think it has.
I don't either. Now, in fairness, Hamilton is not a Disney production, so that's not terribly unexpected. So it is very good for adults. It is very good if you have older kids, teenagers, college-age kids, things like that. Certainly not for the younger ones. And yeah, it's not going to have a Disney magic because it's not a Disney property. So that's going to be a big 3 out of 5 for us. Check it out. See what you think. It's available on Disney Plus. Hope that you guys found this valuable and it earned your like. Consider subscribing. We do content like this all the time. Let us know in the comments what you want us to review on Disney Plus next. We want to save you guys some time and figure out what it is that's worth watching, worth skipping, and save you guys that time. So thanks so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time we ride the Teacups.